Mr. Wilson, Bert Wilson. Mr. Wilson. Oh, a lot of us have the same concerns.
So you haven't already had it in?
Pay for yourself.
As far as Don Natoli is concerned, those of us who are opposed to the BDCP consider him a vital voice that has been on this council, and we appreciate his editorials and his truthful approach to everything. And I'm sure I speak for all my cohorts when we can award him our highest honor as that of an honest politician. Thank you very much.
Yay.
Thank you, Bert. Thanks, Bert.
Given the BDC plan is losing favor daily and missing deadlines, does this council have a backup plan in case it fails? All good agencies have a backup plan.
They do?
Yeah.
Mr. Wilson, as you well know, the statute requires us to consider the BDCP if it successfully meets all of the provisions in law, and to incorporate it in the Delta plan if the Department of Fish and Wildlife confirms it has, and if there is no appeal of the Fish and Wildlife's decision, we will incorporate it in the Delta plan. I am sure there will be an appeal. You, if not anybody else, will appeal that decision, and we will then have to make a determination on whether the requirements of law have been met.
Have you thought about what a backup plan would be?
No, because the Delta plan did reference the fact a couple of times in minor ways that some aspects may require the council to look at issues again if additional time delays occur. But no, we are not developing a comprehensive plan as an alternative should BDCP fail. Not our statutory duty to do so.
Let's say BDCP is accepted and a permit is issued. I think the day after a permit is issued, a referendum will be filed. Will work be permitted in the Delta while the referendum is going through its process?
I don't know what you would be doing a referendum on.
Voting against it.
No, well, but under the California Constitution, a referenda is a voter direction to put before the voters a statute that has been passed into law and seeking to repeal it. And I don't know what statute you're talking about, because the timeline to do so has long passed from the 1960 State Water Project authorization.
The statute could refer to the Delta Reform Plan.
Well, you missed the deadline for doing it. That was passed in 2009.
Okay.
I don't want to pretend to practice law on the subject,
that's all right.
But there are deadlines about filing a referenda of a state statute once passed.
Now, the latest Google map shows 5 islands in the Delta not existing anymore and being flooded over. Do you know anything about that?
I don't.
Would you care to investigate it because it's misleading?
No, because the Google Maps also put people directly on the landing strip of the Anchorage airport, I read in the newspaper this morning, and I don't think it's our obligation to straighten out Google mapping. I could be wrong, but I think that's a private business, isn't it?
Well, it might be very misleading to people.
Oh,
they might think
Bert, that's
they might think the BDCP is a fix and sure thing.
I am sure there's a conspiracy theory for every person to revel in if they wish to. But no, we're not going to investigate Google's accuracy or inaccuracy.
Your requirements for incorporation into the Delta Plan say that the EIR must evaluate a reasonable range of alternatives, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yes,
now, this council did not accept the no conveyance alternative for the reason, which to me is very ludicrous, that it did not contain a Delta plan for habitat restoration. That's what you wrote. I brought this up a few months ago. But you didn't have a reason then. Well, the reason was it doesn't have a Delta habitat restoration. Well, look, all you have to do is throw out the BDCP twin tunnels and put in the through Delta plan and incorporate the habitat restoration program, and you've got an alternative. You're not doing that. You rejected the no conveyance alternative just out of hand. Can you guarantee that this is going to be considered in the VDCP final plan?
Bert, look, we've had this conversation, I can't remember how many times over the last several years. I know you don't like BDCP in any shape or form. I know you understand that we don't have the legal authority, nor do we control the Bay Delta Conservation Plan. I know that you use this as an opportunity to talk because you think it's a good idea, and we let you go on. But sorry, we've spent 3 years, we've adopted a Delta plan. I know you don't like that either. It's just going to have to be like that.
But you're the ones who are passing judgment on the BDCP. If you want to pass a really honest judgment, you should consider a through Delta conveyance with the habitat restoration.
We'll take your comment under consideration.
Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Another requirement for incorporation is threaten to eliminate a plant or animal community. The realignment of the Delta tunnels right now threatens Staten Island and the Crane community right now. With this, unless they do something about this, will you be able to accept the BDC plan into the Delta plan?
I don't know why I'm doing this, but I'm going to do it. Bert, as you know, this is the Federal Endangered Species Act requirement of law. If it comes to us, the law says they must first receive approval of the Federal Endangered Species Act. Now you say, well, no, that can't be done because all these proposals will cause harm. The Endangered Species Act has a process that's followed. We don't make a decision about whether it's a right decision. They have to walk in here on an appeal, if it's made, with approval from the federal government.
You mean you can look at something that doesn't have that approval?
Bert, I don't think you understand the law. I'm not going to argue with you anymore.
Okay. I just want you to take note of these things because I think they're important.
Thank you.
Okay. Also, one last thing. The BDC plan calls for an offset of contaminated air with the San Francisco Air Quality Management District. Now, that means that to the public, you can say this is a trade-off. We're trading a big area of contamination with no area of contamination. Yet it is still the Delta residents that have got to live with that contamination. Do you think that that's a good thing that you can accept?
We'll take your comment under consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Anyone else, Pat? No. Okay. All right, we're going to take an hour's break. It is 12:40. We will start at 1:40. 1:40. Members, my hope is to get out of here by no later than 4, hopefully a bit earlier. Okay? 1:40. See you then.
Correct.